In the global music industry, the distance between what is created and what is officially credited can often be larger than many expect. To the average listener, the credits of a song are simply a list of names, usually found in the liner notes of an album or on digital platforms, identifying the songwriters, producers, engineers, and other individuals who played a role in bringing a track to life. However, beneath this seemingly straightforward documentation lies a complex system influenced by contractual agreements, internal company policies, and sometimes subjective decisions made by those in charge of creative direction. This gap between actual creative contribution and official recognition is not new, but it becomes particularly noticeable when it involves high-profile artists. BTS's Jungkook, one of the most recognizable figures in the K-pop world, is celebrated worldwide for his vocal abilities, performance skills, and versatility as an entertainer. Yet, a recurring conversation has emerged among fans, industry observers, and even some insiders. The claim that as much as 80% of Jungkook's creative input in BTS's music, choreography, and visual concepts has not been officially recorded in the credits. This statistic, while not universally verified, has circulated widely enough to spark debates about transparency, recognition, and fairness in the entertainment industry. The idea that an artist at the forefront of the world's most successful boy band could contribute significantly to its creative process without receiving proportional credit raises several questions. How are contributions defined in the first place? What factors determine whether an artist's name appears in the official credits? And why might an agency choose not to include certain contributions, even if they are substantial? Understanding this issue requires looking beyond the headlines and exploring the industry mechanisms at work. Credits are more than just acknowledgments. They are linked to legal rights, royalties, and professional reputation. In the fast-paced and highly controlled environment of K-pop, where large entertainment companies oversee nearly every aspect of production, the crediting process can be as much about business strategy as it is about honoring creative labor. Jungkook's situation, if indeed the 80% claim holds merit, offers a case study in the intersection between artistry and corporate management. Over the years, fans have compiled countless examples of his behind-the-scenes involvement, suggesting melody changes, adjusting vocal harmonies, contributing to choreography ideas, and even offering visual and thematic concepts for performances. Many of these contributions have been documented in fan recordings, variety show footage, or official behind-the-scenes videos. However, when checking the formal album booklets or digital credit listings, his name appears far less frequently than the volume of his reported involvement would suggest. This discrepancy is not unique to Jungkook. The entertainment world, both in South Korea and internationally, has a history of artists going uncredited for certain types of work. Sometimes it is due to the collaborative nature of the production process, where individual contributions are hard to quantify or separate from the group effort. Other times, it is a deliberate choice driven by marketing considerations, where the focus is placed on a smaller number of brandable names for simplicity and consistency. In still other cases, it is the result of legal agreements that specify who will be credited, regardless of actual creative input. For BTS, a group known for its members' growing involvement in songwriting and production over the years, the public narrative has often emphasized the artistry and creative control of the members. RM, Suga, and J-Hope have extensive credits in BTS's discography, recognized for their work as lyricists and producers. Jungkook, while celebrated for his performance capabilities, has comparatively fewer official credits despite a visible pattern of active participation in the creation process. This contrast has fueled discussions about whether the disparity is a reflection of internal company policies, contractual structures, or simply the nature of how certain contributions are categorized. Industry experts note that the definition of creditable work can vary widely depending on the standards used by the record label, production team, or publishing entity. In some contexts, suggesting a melody or offering feedback in a recording session may be seen as a meaningful creative contribution deserving of credit. In others, such input might be viewed as part of an artist's general role as a performer and thus not warranting specific acknowledgement. These distinctions, while subtle, have real-world consequences for how an artist's career is documented and perceived. As BTS moves through its second decade of activity, the question of individual recognition within the group becomes more relevant. While the group's collective success remains undeniable, the members' individual legacies are also taking shape. For Jungkook, whose solo ventures and collaborations outside BTS have already shown a more prominent display of his creative involvement, the contrast with his official BTS credits is especially striking. Whether the 80% uncredited figure is a precise calculation or a symbolic expression of under-recognition, it highlights a broader conversation about the transparency of crediting in K-pop and beyond. This chapter sets the stage for a deeper exploration of the topic. In the following sections, we will examine how music credits work, the documentation of Jungkook's involvement in BTS projects, the origins of the 80% claim, and the wider industry patterns that may explain such discrepancies. By unpacking these elements, we can better understand whether Jungkook's situation is an anomaly or part of a systemic trend in the music business. To fully appreciate the discussion surrounding Jungkook's reported uncredited contributions, it is necessary to understand how the music crediting system works. While the casual listener might think of credits as a simple acknowledgement of who worked on a song, the reality is far more structured and, in many cases, heavily tied to legal and financial implications. Music credits are not merely ceremonial. They directly influence an artist's professional reputation, royalty earnings, and long-term career trajectory. In most modern music industries, credits are divided into distinct categories. These categories typically include lyricists, composers, arrangers, producers, instrumentalists, engineers, and background vocalists. Each role comes with its own set of expectations and responsibilities. For instance, a lyricist contributes to the words of the song, while a composer is responsible for the melody and harmonic structure. An arranger determines how a piece of music will be performed, its tempo, key, instrumentation, and overall structure. The producer, often regarded as the overseer of the recording process, makes both creative and technical decisions to shape the final product. Engineers handle the technical side of recording and mixing, while instrumentalists and background vocalists contribute performance elements that enhance the track. And the K-pop industry. These categories exist, but are often applied differently compared to Western music markets. Many K-pop songs are created through large collaborative networks involving international songwriters, producers, and in-house creative teams. A single track might pass through multiple hands before reaching its final form, with contributions made in different countries, languages, and production stages. As a result, the process of deciding who gets credited can be more complex. In some cases, only those whose contributions were substantial and formally recognized by the company receive official acknowledgement. Minor input, even if creatively significant in the moment, might not be listed if it is considered part of an artist's expected duties during production. The allocation of credits is not only a matter of fairness, but also one of financial consequence. Music publishing rights generate royalties each time a song is sold, streamed, broadcast, or performed publicly. These royalties are distributed according to the percentage of ownership each credited contributor holds. If an artist is not listed as a songwriter or composer, they are typically excluded from these royalty streams, regardless of how important their creative ideas may have been in shaping the final song. Over time, these royalties can amount to significant income, especially for songs with global reach like those of BTS. In the case of BTS, the group is signed under Big Hit Music, a subsidiary of HYBE Corporation, which follows industry standard crediting practices while also maintaining its own internal processes. Certain members, such as RM, Suga, and J-Hope, are frequently credited as lyricists and composers due to their active participation in writing and producing tracks. Jungkook's name appears less often in these formal roles, despite documentation from behind-the-scenes content showing him offering input on melodies, harmonies, and production elements. Understanding this framework is essential before evaluating Jungkook's specific case. If indeed a significant portion of his work has gone uncredited, it could be due to a combination of contractual norms, company policy, and strategic branding rather than outright negligence. The challenge lies in distinguishing between contributions that are part of his role as a performer and those that warrant formal credit as a songwriter, composer, or producer. In the next chapter, we will examine the documented instances of Jungkook's involvement in BTS's creative process. By comparing his credited works with moments of recorded input, we can better assess the scope of the gap between his actual contributions and the official record. This will also help in understanding whether the 80% uncredited figure is realistic or an exaggerated perception born from selective evidence. To understand the disparity between Jungkook's visible contributions and his official credits, it is necessary to review specific instances in which his creative participation has been recorded, either through official behind-the-scenes footage, interviews, or live broadcasts. While the exact scope of his work behind the scenes is known only to him, his fellow members, and the company, there is a substantial body of publicly available material that sheds light on his involvement. BTS has maintained a long-running series of behind-the-scenes content, including Bangtan Bombs, Run BTS, and documentary films such as Burn the Stage, Bring the Soul, and Break the Silence. These materials often show the members in rehearsal rooms, recording studios, and production meetings, offering glimpses into the collaborative process. In many of these instances, Jungkook can be seen and heard giving feedback, proposing ideas, or refining aspects of performances. One recurring theme in this documentation is Jungkook's attention to vocal delivery. As the group's main vocalist, his input in how a melody is executed is significant. There are multiple instances in which he suggests altering phrasing, adjusting high notes, or modifying harmonies to better fit the emotional tone of the song. For example, during the preparation of tracks such as Euphoria and My Time, recordings and interviews revealed that he worked closely with producers to refine the vocal arrangement. While he is credited as a songwriter on Magic Shop, his visible involvement in the arrangement of other tracks has not always translated into official recognition. Another area of documented contribution is choreography. While BTS works with professional choreographers, the members often adapt or modify routines to fit their performance style. Jungkook has been shown proposing alternative moves, suggesting changes to transitions, and experimenting with formations that improve stage impact. These contributions may not qualify for official songwriting or composing credits, but they do influence the final presentation of BTS's performances, which is a critical component of their brand. Visual and thematic input is another dimension of Jungkook's participation. In interviews, other members have acknowledged his strong sense of visual storytelling. He has contributed ideas for stage setups, lighting schemes, and even thematic continuity between songs in a setlist. For example, during the Love Yourself and Speak Yourself tours, behind-the-scenes footage showed him discussing the emotional flow of the concert and how certain songs should transition to maintain audience engagement. While these inputs may not be part of the official songwriting process, they indicate his broader involvement in the group's artistic direction. Music production is yet another area where Jungkook has left his mark. In various studio sessions captured in official content, he is seen experimenting with digital audio workstations, layering vocal tracks, and testing harmonies. In some cases, he has recorded guide vocals that shape how a song is ultimately performed by all members. Although these roles might not meet the formal threshold for a composer or producer credit under company policy, they are a tangible form of creative labor. Outside of BTS's group activities, Jungkook's solo and collaborative projects offer clearer evidence of his creative abilities. Tracks like Still With You, released as part of BTS's Festa celebrations, were self-produced by Jungkook and received widespread praise for their composition and emotional resonance. These projects demonstrate that he has the technical skills and artistic vision to take a song from concept to completion, reinforcing the idea that his undercredited work in BTS's group output is not due to a lack of capability. Fan-led documentation has played a significant role in highlighting Jungkook's contributions. Enthusiast communities have compiled extensive timelines of his visible involvement in song arrangements, choreography decisions, and production discussions. These compilations often pair video evidence with comparative analysis of the final product, suggesting that his input was integrated into the finished version. However, while these observations are compelling, they are not definitive proof that his contributions should have been formally credited according to industry standards. The line between collaborative input and official authorship is not always clearly defined,